The Lesson of the Hourglass. In a remote village surrounded by mountains and valleys lived an old Zen master named Ryoji. His wisdom attracted people from all over, seeking answers to their concerns and guidance to find balance in their lives. The master was known for his ability to teach through stories and everyday objects, transforming simplicity into a powerful tool for reflection. One day, a young man named Daichi arrived at the temple, clearly distressed. His eyes reflected exhaustion, and his posture showed the weight of an internal conflict he couldn't resolve. "Master Ryoji, I need your help," he said, bowing deeply. "I feel like my life is falling apart. No matter how hard I try to move forward, everything seems to go too fast. Work, obligations, expectations. It's overwhelming, and I don't know how to stop this chaos." Ryoji looked at him calmly and nodded. "I understand how you feel, Daichi. We live in a world that never seems to stop. But sometimes, to find peace, we must learn to flow with time." The master stood up slowly, signaling Daichi to follow him. He led him to a small room in the temple, illuminated by the soft sunlight filtering through paper windows. In the center of the room, on a low table, was an hourglass, delicate and elegant, with fine grains of golden sand. "Observe this hourglass," Ryoji said, turning it over and letting the sand begin to flow from the top to the bottom. "I want you to watch it closely and tell me what you see." Daichi leaned in, examining the object carefully. The sand falls slowly, grain by grain. It doesn't seem to rush, but it keeps moving. Ryoji nodded with a slight smile. "Exactly. Now tell me, what would happen if you tried to force all the sand to fall at once?" The young man thought for a moment and replied, "It would be impossible. The hourglass is designed for the sand to pass little by little, grain by grain. If I tried to force it, the glass would break or the sand would get stuck." The master looked at him with approval. "That's right, Daichi. This hourglass teaches us a great lesson about life. Each grain represents a moment, a task, or a worry. If we try to handle everything at once, we get stuck, we burn out, and like the hourglass, we risk breaking." Daichi remained silent, processing the master's words. "So," he finally said, "you mean I should stop trying to do everything at the same time?" Ryoji smiled. "It's not just about doing everything. It's about learning to focus on one grain at a time. The hourglass doesn't stop, but it also doesn't rush the sand. It flows calmly, knowing that each grain will reach its destination at the right moment." Daichi stared at the hourglass, feeling the master's words begin to resonate within him. "And how can I apply this to my life, master?" he asked, with a mix of curiosity and hope. Ryoji picked up the hourglass and offered it to the young man. "Whenever you feel overwhelmed, turn this hourglass and watch it. Make a mental list of your worries and then choose just one thing to focus on. Let the other grains wait their turn. You'll see that, in the end, everything flows more easily." The young man accepted the hourglass with gratitude, but one doubt remained in his mind. "Master, what if the grains pile up too quickly? What if I feel there's not enough time for everything?" The old man chuckled softly. "That happens when we forget something important, Daichi. Not all grains have the same weight. Some are larger and more significant, while others are small and insignificant. Learn to prioritize. Let the smaller grains stay at the top for a while. What matters is that you don't stop, but don't rush either." The young man slowly nodded, beginning to understand. "So, the key is to accept that I can't control everything at once?" "Exactly," Ryoji replied. "When you surrender to the natural flow of life, you discover that there's beauty in imperfection and peace in acceptance." With the hourglass in his hands, Daichi bid farewell to the master, promising to apply the lesson in his daily life. In the weeks that followed, whenever he felt overwhelmed, He would watch the hourglass and remember the master's words. Little by little, his life began to change. He learned to manage his responsibilities without falling into anxiety and to enjoy the simple moments that previously went unnoticed. Years later, Daichi returned to the temple, no longer as an overwhelmed young man, but as a calm and balanced individual. He carried the same hourglass, now a symbol of his transformation. "Master Ryoji," he said, bowing deeply, "thanks to your teaching, I have found peace in my life. Each grain of sand reminded me that it's not time that controls my life, but how I choose to live it." The old man smiled, satisfied to see his disciples' growth. Always remember, Daichi, that life is like an hourglass. Though time flows without stopping, you can always choose how to face it